Sellers are making almost $1 million a year selling AI art as digital prints on Etsy. I started this business myself, and in less than a year, I got to $3,000 months, and I built an automation system to let me do this in about 4 hours a week. This is a video about AI art and how to make money selling on Etsy, but specifically, it's about how to sell less and make more with higher profit margins and less work than ever before. There's a brand new feature in this automation system that I just released that allows us to create bundles on autopilot. We're gonna walk through it in this video so you can make more money in less time and start stacking up with these 6-figure and 7-figure sellers. So let's get into it. One of the absolute powerhouses in the AI art space is antique white art. They've been selling for only 2 years, yet they have almost 70K sales. And that's not $70,000, that's 70,000 sales of AI art designs that they can list digitally and they just sell over and over on autopilot. So what does that translate to in revenue? Well, if we go to their Everbee research tool, you can see their monthly revenue estimate is 30K in sales per month. Profit margins with digital prints on Etsy is around 80 to even 90% in some cases. And so if we take that into consideration here, let's do $30,000 times 0.85 to be conservative with Etsy fees and stuff like that. So there's profit per month times 12. So that's 300 grand a year selling AI art on Etsy. And if you're using automation or scripts, which I'll show you in just a second, you can work for about 4 hours a week and truly achieve that 4-hour work week where you're making multiple 6 figures a year. But here's the thing. Although antique white art sells a ton of digital prints like these, let's take a look at their best sellers that bring in the most revenue. If we go to their listings tab here, and let's sort by all time, their biggest seller ever is a print bundle, another print bundle, and yet another print bundle, and then a print, and then a bundle. So as you can see, what is this? 4 out of their top 5 are print bundles. So what the heck is a print bundle? These are literally just frame sets where they take already posted art designs like this and this and this, bundle it all together into a frame set of 8. It can be anywhere from 6 to 8 to 12 to 30 or more. And they sell it as one single listing. It's still completely digital, downloadable, and the only difference is instead of maybe buying a print where you get JPEGs or something like a link specifically to that print, you get a PDF with a link to folders that each contain upscaled and cropped files for each of these, right? So we get a 4x5 for this and this and this, and then a 2x3 for this and this and this, etc. And as you can see, some of these numbers are absolutely bonkers. If you could post one frame set and make $70,000, I mean, I would do that every day of the week. You would just find a way to run as much water through that system as you possibly could, right? And with this new automation, we're about there. So now that we've covered the background of frame bundles, let's get into how to automate them so you can make 5, 10, or really as many of these as you want completely on autopilot. So the first thing we're going to walk through is how to get the files you need to create a bundle. And it's really not that complicated. So the first thing we need is a set of mockups to show off our art designs. You can see we have those right here. It's actually pretty straightforward, and we want to show off every art design and give it a chance to shine. On top of that, we also need our upscaled and cropped images. So that's where these 5 live in these folders right here. If we double click, you can see that these are very highly upscaled into quite large pixel dimensions. And if I zoom in a little bit, you can see it's the exact same art design, but just cropped into slightly different ratios. And that's reflected in the file name here. Now, this script that we're going to walk through and this entire automation system uses Photoshop's bicubic smoother to upscale your files. And at the end of the day, that is all you need. I know people try to make it confusing with Gigapixel AI or other products out there, but Photoshop can do everything you ever need to do for graphics design, including upscaling files. It's the most reliable and the most affordable, and it's just all done automatically as a part of this script. So I would recommend avoiding any other upscale tools, but it's totally up to you. So now that we have an idea of what we're making, let's go ahead and make it. So this is the setup of the Tempest automation script, which you can get in the description right now and download for yourself. It sets up folders like this: input, mockups, output, and a couple new ones if you've been using the script like Tempest program files. All we have to worry about is input and mockups. Mockups has a set for each orientation. So for frame bundles, I already have my mockups loaded in here. Okay, it's the exact ones that we just walked through. And you just have to give each of the frame sets a letter name. So A, B, C, D, E. If you really want to control and curate them, we'll walk through that in just a second. But if you sort of just want an auto-assign path that makes it easy, just give them all letter names from A to Z or however many you have, like A through E here, and then go on your way. Hit save on the mockup or Control S, and then close it and make sure it's in that mockups folder, okay? So I've already done that for all of these mockups, so I'm going to go back. So the very last step, and probably the most important, is the input folder. So if you've been using the script before, normally you put in a big list of files here, Midjourney art designs, but in this case, we're actually going to put in a big list of folders. In this case, we just have one, and it's called fruit set of 5. And within fruit set of 5, we have 5 art design files. Some are horizontal, some are vertical. With this bundle automation, it's smart enough to figure this all out. So you can just throw in your art designs. The assumption is that you've already posted these to Etsy, which is why these have the nice cleaned up file name and an index, and then you're reusing them for a bundle. You don't have to do it that way, but it was designed with that idea in mind, because why wouldn't you want to give your listing sort of 2 chances at success? So that's actually all we need to do. Input is filled out with our folder, mockups is filled out with our mockups, and that's about it. So I'm actually going to go into Photoshop here. So I just rearranged these so you can see them a little better, and I'm actually just going to go into Photoshop here with File, Scripts, Browse, and just double click my Tempest script and get this rolling. So right when you do a double click, it comes up with this run window, and here's where we make our selections. So I'm going to select frame bundle here, and a couple things change. As you can see, I have the option to pick auto assign or manually assign. Okay, we're going to choose auto assign in this case. So we're not doing any matching. The input art files, that fruit set of 5, they're just going to get slotted in wherever they fit. And it makes sure that the orientation is correct. They'll never get placed into a wrong orientation, like a horizontal and a vertical, for example. And we do want to rename and index the files. So what this will do in the input folder is it'll give this a prefix of B for bundle and then give an index. So even our bundles we can keep track of. Because we want to have a good library of indexes, and they all should be unique. So it's V1, 2, 3, maybe we have some horizontals, H4, 5, 6, maybe we post a couple bundles, B7, 8, 9, so that everything has its own address. And then on Etsy, that'll be a part of the title, and we can find it later in our files. So I think indexing is really important. I'd recommend it. You don't have to. So we'll leave this at 1 for now. And the one last thing I want to show is there's actually a new button in Tempest. This is a part of the 2.0 update. And if we click it here, you now have full control over all of the file names, the file dimensions, and even the number of files that get created. So for example, if I go to verticals here, I can change the file names to be 1 by 1. And have that be 5600 by 5600. And that's as easy as that. Maybe I don't even want any of these, so I can X them out. Remember, these are the cropped and upscaled images that will be resulting from our cropping step as the script runs. So if I just hit save, it'll commit this to memory. And if I open it up again and click vertical here, you can see 1by1.jpg is all we're going to create. All right, I'm doing this for vertical because we're going to run frame bundles and I want to leave that alone. But you now have full control to pretty much customize this however you want. So this is actually a pretty powerful update. I know we're kind of glossing over it, but this unlocks a lot of power for you as you're using this script. So keep that in mind. And one other thing is with bundles or Google Drive in general, as long as you're not uploading your files directly to Etsy, you can actually uncheck this box here. And you can hit save to save this as a part of the memory. But what this does is it makes sure your exported JPEGs stay under 20 megabytes. If you're uploading directly to Etsy, you need to have this checked. Tempest, this automation script, has logic in it to make sure that it's always under 20 megabytes as it's upscaling. Even if it has to manipulate the exporting a little bit, it will always make sure it's below 20 megabytes. But if we uncheck this, it's untethered, and it can be as high quality and as big as we need it to be to reach these pixel dimensions, okay? So with all of our selections filled out, let's go ahead and hit OK and run the script. So right away, it's doing some pre-processing to determine orientations, to determine which mockup has which letter as the spots. And if we go into our output folder here on the left hand side for frame bundles, you can see it already created one for B_1. So it added an index and a prefix, fruit set of 5. And if we open it up, you can see it's already pasting our art designs into these mockups completely automatically, right? I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting this happen. And it knows to put the right art design into the right spot. These are both horizontals, right? And it actually does a round robin approach. So it tries to have the most even spread of your art designs as possible and not reuse them as much as it can, okay? In some cases, that's going to be one of each, like this. And in some cases, it will reuse, like this one has the cherries as the vertical. We only had 2 verticals, so then once it gets to this mock-up, it's going to reuse the cherries once it kind of shuffles the deck, right? And at that point, it's actually done with all the mock-ups, and now it's moving on to the cropping and upscaling. So if I double-click into one of these, you can see it's got all the right ratios. They're all the correct sizes right here that we provided. And because we unchecked that box, they're actually over 20 megabytes, which is good. It means they're the highest quality possible. And the whole point is that because we're uploading to Google Drive, these can be as big as we want. We're not limited by a 20 megabyte limit like we are in Etsy. So the script is actually completely done. And the last thing to point out here is it crunches these input file names when it creates these folders. So like a bowl of ripe plums with 1 half bitten on a garden, right? Cropped images. So it sort of creates this slug based on the input file. And this will come into play later. So we'll show this in just a second. And now we are completely done with this Tempest script. Everything is prepped and ready to go. Now we can get to the uploading, and that is through Downpour, the bulk upload software exclusive to the AI Art Sellers Collective. So now we're in Downpour, and this is the most powerful piece of this automation suite that you get access to in the community. So I've already filled in this entire template. Google Drive is on. We have our thank you PDF loaded. I filled in my mockup names. I have a reserved slot for the PDF. That's where that will get uploaded to Etsy. And I have my Google Drive file names. So these are the cropped and upscaled files that we just walked through. Even though we have multiple folders full of cropped files, all we have to do is specify the names of these files, 2x3, 3x4, 4x5, once in this Google Drive file name section, and it will be able to process the tree of folders because they all have these same cropped and upscaled file names. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So all of these have the same file names. So 2x3, 3x4, 2x3, 3x4, even the horizontals. So with bundles, they have the same file names regardless of the orientation. However, obviously they're flipped, right? For that one versus this one, which is a vertical, it's still called 3x4, even when it's vertical or horizontal, okay? So that makes it easy for this step. So we only have to provide these 5, okay? And that's actually all there is to it. I've been a programmer for over 10 years at this point, and I just try to make Downpour as simple as possible while still being as functional as it needs to be. So at this point, everything's set up. Let's go ahead and drag and drop this entire batch by going back one folder and just dragging and dropping this folder right here in the drop area. Okay, so it takes 2 seconds to process all the files, and now it's doing a couple things. So let's go a little fast. It's uploading all the mockups. It created Google Drive folders, but up here you can see auto writing bundle folder names. Okay, so I don't know if you saw that. Maybe we'll do an instant replay, but it just changed that folder name from whatever it was to A, bowl of purple plums. Okay, B, blueberries in rustic bowl. C, watermelon slices with basil. D, cluster of red cherries. E, green grapes on table. Okay, so these are really nice folder names compared to bowl of ripe plums with 1 half bitten on garden, blueberry scattered over cracked ceramic, sliced watermelon, fresh basil on stump. Like, you see what I'm saying here? Cluster of red cherries, cluster of deep red cherries heaped casually. Like, so these are the prompts for Midjourney, which is why they're in the file name. It's helpful for the AI that we're using here to analyze, as well as the image. So it's looking at the image now. And it's helpful reference and context for the AI, but we need the AI because we want to make something a little bit more kind of human readable than these sort of ugly file names. Because the customer is going to get delivered to this folder and they're going to see these super nice names like, oh, I only really wanted D and E, that I wanted the grape art design. So they get to their folder and they're like, oh, there it is, green grapes on table, right? I just tried to make it as easy to use as possible while also giving customers the best experience, right? So we can all grow bigger, better businesses by using these tools. That's the whole point. So everything is already processed, so now we can initiate step 2, which is the Google Drive step. So if I click this, you can see that we have a new folder called Test Redwood Prints B1. That's the name of my shop. B1 is the bundle. If I open it up, there's nothing in there, okay? I'm going to go ahead and click Upload to Google Drive. Click Yes, and it's going to kick this off, okay? So now all of these are now processing and uploading to Google Drive. These are all fine. These are the mockups, but the Google Drive files are not uploading. You can see it goes pretty quickly, and if so I don't even have to refresh. Here's A. It's already been created, bowl of purple plums, and our art is currently being uploaded as we speak, okay? So pretty cool stuff there. Looks like A is done. B is now going. I'll make this bigger. So it's sort of just doing this automatically. And we're just doing this for one bundle here, you can see. We could have done 10 bundles and it would have done this all automatically. So that's why I love this automation and why I built this thing in the first place. And essentially that's all there is to it. Once this completes, so it just got to 100%. If we scroll up, something pops into the listing file section, and that is actually our shared link PDF. So this is all that gets uploaded to Etsy. Listing images, listing files, and this PDF points to these, right? Which is actually this folder. It points to this, okay? That's fine. So if I click my PDF preview right here, you can see we get a little thank you PDF. This is what I loaded ahead of time. This was just a placeholder, but now if I click it, it's going to send us right to our folder as if we're the customer, right? Because that's what we're going to attach to Etsy. And then they can just see all these. So they'll have seen this. So they'll see this listing on Etsy, think it looks amazing, click purchase, download a PDF, which is exactly this. This is the only file they'll get. And then they'll click this button right here and get sent right to here. And here is their digital downloads, right? All prepped, all nice, beautiful names, super easy to understand, no friction, right? And they're all the high upscaled versions, right? Because we didn't have to limit them to 20 megabytes. So they're as high res as possible. And if you really wanted to, in the script, you could have made these 10,000 by 10,000 pixels. You can make them as big as you want. The sizes that are preloaded are what I recommend, but you can kind of take this and run with it at this point. So I hope you can see how easy that was to get all that prepped and set up. The very last step is to upload all this to Etsy. And there's actually one missing piece I haven't talked about yet, which is the title and tags. And you guessed it, we actually have AI integrated into Downpour here to write our titles and tags for us as well. So in this AI auto-generate tile, I'm going to pick my first kind of biggest mockup that shows off the frame set the best. Number 1 here, set of 5. So I'm going to select this as my reference image. I could give it notes. I could say this is like a frame set, but it also knows. It knows that this is a bundle. It categorizes it. And then I can click auto generate. And in just a couple seconds, we'll get a title and set of tags given to us automatically. These are 100% guaranteed to be between 130. You can zoom in on that. 130 and 140 characters. Okay, it will always be in that range. I worked tirelessly to make sure that it was always in that range because we want to make sure we use as much of the SEO real estate as possible. Vintage fruit gallery wall art set of 5. Printable kitchen decor, rustic fruit paintings, farmhouse style wall art, digital download 1. That's perfect. So it includes the index so we can find these later, so we can just find our listing on Etsy and understand that it is listing number 1. If we need to go back into our files, we'll know that we can just look for B1. Okay, so that's the whole point of the index. Vintage wall art, fruit prints, printable decor, wall art, gallery set, digital art set. This is great. And now that this is all done, our upload warnings and errors have gone away. And I can literally just click this button, upload this as a draft listing. Downpour only uploads drafts. It saves the best for last for you to post them. And it's already 50% done. Let's go to our shop here like this. Go into my draft listings. And as you can see, it's just popped in right here. It has price, quantity, everything we filled out in Downpour. All the images have uploaded. Our PDF is here. I can download it. It looks perfect, exactly the same as it was. Sends us right to our folder. Descriptions included, price, quantity. There's an optional selection to include the index and the SKU field as well. Tags, you can add these attributes right in Downpour as well. And you can see the upload is successful. So that's all there is to it. If we go back, we can click this, click publish, and send it off to be on its way making sales. And again, we could have done this for one bundle like we just did, or we could have done it for 20. It's really limitless what you can do with automation like this. So before we move on, if you want to get unlimited access to this automation system, you can do so with the first link in the description. That link is for my community, the AI Art Sellers Collective, and that is where all of these automation tools live. Right when you join, you'll get access to an amazing community of high-level sellers, all celebrating wins, cheering each other on, and making the process fun along the way. Plus, in the Classroom tab, there's a full 4-week course, a ton of other automation tools and resources, plus the entire Etsy automation suite that we just walked through, so Tempest and Downpour, and all the features included. You get the Google Drive feature, the bundle automation feature included when you join right now. So it's all 100% available, and you can join with the link in the description. I'd recommend joining now before the prices increase in the future, but it's totally up to you. This is the system I used to hit $3,000 months within my first year of selling on Etsy, and it's the system other sellers are currently using to make a ton of sales in their first days, not months or years. And if you're curious to see what people are saying from the outside, you can go to the About page and click on the last 2 slides to see some comments and some posts that people have been making recently about wins and all of the progress and time saved by using these automation tools. That'd be the best place to go to learn more, and I'm excited to see you inside. But now let's get into the next thing we're going to automate in this video. So when we ran the script earlier, there were 2 radio buttons. One was to auto assign, and the other was to manually assign our art designs, and we could get a little more of a curated approach. So let's walk through that in case you want full control of where your art designs go in the mockups, but you want everything else to be automated. So if I open up my mockups here for the frame bundles, here's an example. You can see A is this horizontal image, okay? So like I said before, they just have to be named an alphabet letter, like A or B, but you can do it a little more intentionally in this method. So I'm gonna have A be the horizontal up here, but check this out. If I open up another one, A is this design here. And so when we run the script in this manual method, we can assign A to our favorite art design, and it will go into A here and A here. So essentially this gives you congruency and consistency across your mockups, and it allows you to pick favorites with your art designs. So let's walk through it. So I'm going to change nothing about the actual script or our mockups or anything. I already preloaded everything before we ran the script the first time. I'll double click it to get it running. And we're going to do everything the exact same except for 2 things. This, we're going to select frame bundles like we did. And then this, we're going to select manually assign. Okay, so that's the one difference. The second difference, if I go into my input, we now have summer set of 5, okay? But remember, if I go back to output, for bundles, we already have B1 fruit set of 5. So the one other difference is I'm going to make this 2. Okay, we want it to start incrementing at 2. We want it to start indexing at 2, right? Because we don't want to have 2 B1s. We want to have summer set of 5 become B2. And in fact, let me show you this once we run it. So this is selected, this is 2, everything else can stay the same. This is all good, this is unchecked, close that. Now I'm going to hit OK. And you can see right away, we now have B2. It does that automatically. And now it's doing a little bit of pre-processing, but it's actually doing some extra processing. So if I go to frame bundles, it hasn't even made the output folder yet. It's just doing pre-processing. And now check out what it just popped up with. So this is the manual assign method, okay? Match the designs in folder B2 summer set of 5. The largest mockup needs 5 slots. Type in the letters you care about, ABC, for the first 5 images. Leave the rest blank if there are more, and I'll auto-assign them. So it looked at all of our mockups, found the one with the most alphabetic slots, which was 5, that set of 5. And that's sort of the champion mockup and the way the script understands that, okay, the most art designs we have to assign is 5 because our biggest mockup has 5 slots, okay? That means every other mockup has less than 5. So The script makes it easy. It splits up verticals and horizontals so you know which is which. So for example, let's do our verticals, B and C. We can see the V kind of keyword prefix here. So I'll say that I wanted this one to be B, maybe I wanted this one to be C, and then, oh, I think I wanted, this one to be A and this one to be D. And I could assign this one to E, and I could just leave it and it would auto assign it to E. And I could even like delete more of these and it would auto assign them, right? So let's just do this for now and then hit OK. Does that make sense? So it can auto assign the ones that you leave blank. It'll always still try to find the right orientation. Make sure that these go into a horizontal slot because they're horizontal. So you could leave this entire thing blank and not give any of these rankings and just sort of have it randomly assign letters to each one. So one will be A, one will be B. And just as a side note, this is different from the first step where it did the auto assign. That purely does a round robin. It might have one art be A in one and one art be B or D in another one. Okay, so it doesn't honor those letters in the auto assign method. It's complete round robin, even spread, shuffle the deck type thing. Whereas this one, it honors it. So we could do random by leaving everything blank, or we can assign everything manually or do a hybrid approach like this. So I'm going to do this. If you have a ton of designs, this is actually paginated with like a next button too. But yeah, we'll leave this for now and go ahead and hit OK. And it's just going to start kicking off. Okay, so now you can see it created the output folder. If I double click in, it's currently prepping our mockups and adding our art designs to them. There's one right there. And if you remember, A was actually at the top here. So it honors what we ranked them. It's a way to have full control over your mockups. And this will end up being A in the cropped images. So just a kind of a through line of consistency. Again, this doesn't, the fact that this is called A in your buyers folder when they get to that Google Drive folder isn't make or break, but it's just sort of for you to have that consistency, especially if you're going to be the one using this in the manual assign route. Talking to the over 100 sellers using these tools in my community, it was exactly 50-50 of I want everything assigned randomly, I want the round robin, versus I want full control, I want consistency. So that's why we added both. So this should give you everything you ever need, and you can kind of pick one of the two camps or do a hybrid approach like I mentioned. So this is now completely done, and we're actually in that same exact boat we just were, where we have these big folders full of upscaled and cropped files, as well as these mockups all prepped and ready to go. So we can actually go right back into Downpour and do this exact same thing. And you'll see how it all just snaps in. It literally takes 5 seconds to get all this loaded. And then you can walk away from your computer and just let things upload to your Etsy shop, ready to make sales. So if I'm just going to scroll all the way down, everything is already prepped and ready to go, like I mentioned. And if I just go ahead and go back folder, I'm going to grab B2 here, drag it in like this, let it process. Remember, everything is set up. It already knows what to look for. So it's auto writing our bundle folder name. So A, straw hat resting beside fresh marigolds on a, right? Kind of made sense, kind of didn't. Boom. Straw hat and marigolds. So much simpler, so much easier to process. And if you want to be super turbo, you can do this. Select set of 5 here, hit auto generate, and then auto upload to Google Drive. Once it's done, we got our title and tags here, number 2. It's now uploading to Google Drive. I'm going to click auto upload to Etsy too, so that once this is done, it starts going to Etsy, right? Now I'm done. Now I can go walk away and go on with my life, spend time with family, go out to eat, do whatever I want to do. Like, this is a fully complete background process at this point. And remember, I could have drag and dropped both of these, B1 and B2, and just let it ran, or 10 different bundle designs. And then we can go ahead and visit this folder and just check it out. Here's B2, and you can see it's just uploading as we speak. It's already almost done. I've given a lot of juice to this Downpour backend, so it can upload pretty quickly. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for this one. So that's the manual assign method. It gives you full control, a little bit of consistency if you want your bundles to look congruent across your shop and be able to pick favorites. And once our bundle set is complete, we can actually just go right to Etsy and check it out once more. If I refresh the page, you can see here's our second bundle set, right? Same quantity, same price, just like we all set up in our template. Mockups look great. Here's our PDF, description, price, quantity. And if we download this, we will be delivered right to our Google Drive folder as if we are a customer. And there's all our files, right? If I go to B, there's my perfect art designs, ready to download, ready for me to print out at home. Yeah, just all perfect. And just to show sort of the structure here, here's the Google Drive folder. It makes one for your shop. It makes a folder for all of these different orientations. And within bundles, you can see our 2 folders, right? So it's all neatly organized in your own Google Drive. You can use multiple shops with this software. By the way, that's a question I get a lot. You can use multiple shops. You can use multiple Google Drive accounts if you want. Yeah, it's just really modular and kind of like a snap-in solution. So I just want to show 2 final tips and tricks that I think you'll want to stay for because they might help you if you ever get into one of these situations. So the first tip is that Tempest actually saves your manual assignments every single run. So if I do a file scripts browse once again, I haven't changed anything about our setup or anything after we just did that upload. It's all the same, right? So here's our output folder. Here's B2 that we just dealt with. Here's our input folder. It was B2. Remember, it got renamed with all of our designs. So let's say I added a new mockup, or let's say I added a different cropped orientation. I also want to include 1x1s as one of the cropped files in this advanced section. I went to frame bundles, I added 1x1, I hit saved, right? I just want to run it again. That's the goal here. So if I click frame bundles and do manual assign, and I'm actually going to click no because I'm rerunning the script for an input folder that's already been named. But check this out. If I leave everything else the same, I can click OK, and it pops up with a message saying, found previous matching for folder B2 set of 5, use previously used matches. So if we click OK here, remember we did the manual assign method, but if I hit yes, it's going to use those same rankings. So everything stays extra congruent across multiple runs, not just across your mockups and cropped images. It's consistent across multiple runs. So this is one of the benefits of Tempest Memory, which has just been added in this Tempest 2.0 release with the art bundles. And on top of that, it also commits your Midjourney name to memory. So the first time you type in your Midjourney name into the script, it'll save that to memory. No more editing the script by hand or anything like that, as well as doing the custom sizes like we've walked through. So now the very, very last thing I want to say is actually related to Frame TV, which is something I haven't talked about yet. So if I prep my Tempest script for Frame TV, so I'm going to swap out my mockups and add some new input files in. So I just added in a Frame TV bundle into the input folder. You can see it here, Frame TV set of 5. Okay, looks great, nothing crazy. Obviously, Frame TV art is all the same. It's same orientation. It's 16:9, and that actually makes things easy. So with the script, it's a little bit different. There's no orientation mapping or anything like that, but there is sort of this override, like short circuit. Okay, so if I go ahead and run the script here, I'm going to select the exact same stuff that I just did. Frame bundle. Let's just do auto assign to make it easy. And yes, we can rename them. I'll rename this as 3. In my input folder, we'll show that in action. Everything else, we're all good. And just note here, like frame bundle is all these normally, but frame TV, a lot of frame bundles. So art sets are these orientations. But if we have frame TV art designs in 16:9 in the input folder, it's a short circuit. So I'm going to close. I'm going to hit OK. You can see it adds it as B3. This is the input folder. So if I go to the output folder and then go into frame bundles, it's still going into frame bundles, even though it's frame TV. You can see B3 right here. If I open it up, it's adding it into our mockups. These were just single mockups. But check this out. So here's A. There's only one upscaled 4K file included into the cropped image folders, because that's all we need. For Frame TV, we only ever need one cropped and up. It's not even cropped. It's just an upscaled 16:9 image, okay, in 4K. So that's one. It's called Frame TV Art. Here's 2, Frame TV Art. Frame TV Art. We didn't pick this, right? This didn't follow the rules of our frame bundle for the 4x5 vertical and 5x4 horizontal. It's a short circuit. So if the input folder is a 16:9 Frame TV Art, it just does this for you, because that's all you'll ever need. You will only need a Frame TV Art design in one 4K JPEG. Okay, it'll do all the mockups with the same stuff if it's A, B, C with the letter names, and you can do the manual assign where you assign 1 to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all that stuff. But the cropped and upscaled images will only ever be one 4K JPEG. Okay, it's exactly what you need for Etsy. So just a little kind of Maybe that could be called a gotcha or something, but I added it as sort of ease of use because then you just don't have to worry about it. If you're doing a frame TV set, it's all automatic. So again, just kind of sticking with the theme of trying to make it intuitive and as easy as possible. Because then, like, I didn't want to make another radio button to choose whether you're doing frame TV or not for a bundle. It's just all automatic. It figures it out for you. And that is actually all there is to it. At this point, we could drag and drop them into Downpour just like we did, and it would do the exact same thing where it would rewrite these with AI, upload them to Google Drive, add these to the listing, add the PDF with the link to all these to the listing as well, write the title and tags with AI, and then we'd be on our way. And again, we're just doing these for kind of one-offs, like one bundle at a time. We could have done all these at the same time or multiple frame TV sets at the same time and just took it and ran with it and let all of this happen automatically. You can let the Tempest script run overnight or while you're out getting groceries, and then once you come back, just drag and drop it into Downpour and do the same thing there. Just let it run while you're doing other stuff. So yeah, this is the system I've used to hit 3K months selling AI art on Etsy. And we are now officially at the point where we can mimic these high-level sellers like Antique White Art, right, with their $74,000 frame set and 30K a month in revenue, all automatically. We now have automation to give us a shop just like them, but working an hour a day or less. All we have to do is design the art and everything else gets done for us on this sort of digital conveyor belt. So it really is an automation system that's totally in its own lane. I haven't seen anything else like this out there, and that's one of the reasons why I built it, because it didn't exist anywhere. And as a seller myself, I knew this stuff could be automated. So I built the system myself, and I've used this system to scale my shop, and now I've made it totally available inside the AI Art Sellers Collective. Everything, all of my secrets and everything else like that, the full automation system is available there. I'd recommend checking it out if you're at all interested in scaling your shop, working less, and making more. So thank you so much for watching. I'm super excited for you to get your hands on this. I think this is going to be a total game changer for the AI art sellers community, and those of us using the system will be able to move light years ahead of other sellers on Etsy. So super exciting stuff. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.